Morning, Yinsters. Welcome to your Yin class this morning. My name's Ann Maree. We haven't hung out on the mat before, and this morning we're going to work through just a lovely little sequence to take some time out of our really busy lives at the moment. As always, make sure you've got as many props around you as you can possibly manage. A couple blocks, a zafu, a bolster if you have one handy, and of course a blanket if you'd like one to come into Shavasana with. So let's get started. And Shavasana is exactly where we will begin our class this morning. So come on down onto your buttocks, and then when you're ready, just lay down onto your backs. And just notice here, if even just landing on your back in Shavasana, how that affects the mind. So often when we come into our yin practice or into any practice, to lay down sometimes rattles us just a little bit, takes us a bit of time to settle into it. So having said that, invite 5 lovely long deep breaths into your body and just notice how they land. Is there ease around the chest area for you this morning? Are you feeling comfortable in the pose of Shavasana? And just starting to welcome the sensations that are landing into Divine Self, the aches, any tension that you may have from the soles of your feet through to the fingertips, to the crown of your head. Any openness or space that you notice in your body, in your breath, settling of the emotions in the wider, the spirit, and just allowing the mind to settle. And just starting to embrace the feeling and the expanse of your being opening to your yin practice this morning. Opening yourself up to the nourishment that comes from being in these poses and the time that you're investing in being on your mat. And then as we move through our practice this morning, give yourself the opportunity to soak all of this goodness, this nourishment up. In a moment, we're going to transition into the pose of butterfly. Let's do that very slowly by awakening the body out of Shavasana slumber, bringing the fingers into gentle movement and the toes, perhaps moving the head from the right to the left side. Good, bring the feet to standing and then just roll the knees to the right and left side of the body, just very gently, where you can still surrender into the ease and the comfort of this very soft, gentle movement. And then if you'd like to be a little bit more active, then taking the knees down to each side, but moving through these gentle movements with your breath. And at the same time as you're rolling the knees from the right to the left side, so too are you taking the gaze to the opposite direction of the knees. And then gather the knees into the chest and roll up forward to the front of your mat. Take hold of some support here for the outer knees. And then find yourself landing into butterfly pose. And let go of any muscular effort here and just allow yourself the opportunity to surrender. And even if you are gifted with very open hips, sometimes the practice is just to feel that wonderful support. So begin by having something supporting the knees. And then just allowing yourself the opportunity to drop into this pose. There's no effort needed. And of course, if you need to go a little deeper into the breath, let that be a little bit more active, then feel free to be there. Similarly, if you need some support under the forehead, that can be in the form of a bolster coming in on an angle to support the forehead, or a block underneath the forehead. Equally, we can adjust the practice if you need to be a little more, and there's more space in the body for you to drop into. As you're feeling the feet, perhaps your legs, and the sit bones, the buttocks on the earth, just notice how the inner thighs are feeling here, your outer ankles, your knee joints, and the hips themselves. As we've been here for some time, yogis, it may be time for you to now change the experience in your pose by adjusting or modifying the support that is around you or underneath you. And whenever you need to feel that you need to change the experience in the pose, then feel free to do that at any time. And as you breathe deeply, notice how the back of the body expands to receive that breath, but also how the connective tissues around, especially the rim of the pelvic bowl and the back body, they expand very gently and subtly. You can feel them lengthening here the longer that we stay in this pose of butterfly. Good, very gently. Bring the hands down to the mat. Walk them back in towards your pelvis. Come on up, come sitting up. Pop the blocks or any support that you have off to the side of the mat. And then from here, we are simply just taking the right leg up to the side of the room. So keep the left leg exactly where it was. Pop a block back underneath it again if you would like to. And just land. Just notice how this feels on the inner right thigh. Again, letting go of any muscular effort here and surrendering into the pose. You may be able to fold a little deeper forward. Just notice how that lands on the inner right thigh. As I invited you earlier, just welcoming the sensations of your body. We're not trying to figure them out or have a whole conversation around, but just welcoming them. Just allow these sensations to be as they are. Openness, could be a little bit of tension there. You may have a lot of ease. Good. In a moment, we're going to bring the right sole of the foot back in to meet the left. We'll take our time as we walk our hands back towards the pelvis once again. Gather the right foot in to meet the left. Good. Find this wonderful place. It's lengthening up through the crown of the head. And then we must go to the other side. So, left leg pops off to the side of the room. Right leg stays where it is, with or without support as you need it, to take care of the ankle and the knee. And then just allowing yourself to embrace the opening through the inner left thigh. Again, welcome the sensations that your body is feeling and sharing with you just now. And then just coming forward as far as is comfortable for you. You may notice now a little bit of support underneath the right outer knee will give you a little bit more softening to be here. So it really is about trying to play with these poses, if you will, with yoga props to help you into the place where you can find the ease and the openness. Good. Once again, for these last moments here, let go of any muscular effort. That is that deep sense of surrender, of not wanting to control, but just to accept, to be open. Alrighty. It's time, yogis, to walk hands back in towards the pelvic bowl. Bring the left foot in to meet the right once again. Butterfly pose also almost becomes the reset between each one of our poses that we've been into. And then from here, just gather the knees up together, bring the feet to standing. And wrap your arms around it, if you will. Bring your nose to sit between your knees here. So you get a lovely lengthening through the back of the neck and shoulders. Good. Coming back. Release the legs. We're now moving into dragonfly. So taking each one of your legs to each side of your mat and allowing yourself the opportunity to land here. There are a lot of ways that we can soften and modify through this pose here. Of course, the first is to only allow the legs to be as open as is comfortable for you to maintain toes and knees to the sky. If you need a little bit more support, just to change the shape of the pelvic bowl, give you a little bit more softening through the lumbar spine, then place a cushion underneath the buttocks, just something little, nothing too high. Otherwise, we tend to drive into the back of the knees. Similarly, place something underneath the back of the knees will soften through that location for you, and also the inner knees as well. Otherwise, be here, and then bring a block. we're going to let this pose unravel gradually. And there are going to be a lot of variations offered for the next few moments, so take your time. And as always with Yin, we land at about 40%, and then we allow time, gravity, and patience to take us to wherever our journey is in this pose for this day. Dragonfly can be a challenging pose for anybody at any time. And if this is you this morning, just see if you can let your legs remain passive. And turn your attention towards the changing sensations that occur in the legs. And they do change as time passes and as we give ourselves the availability of space and to surrender. The pose will change to you, present itself in a different way. Once again, if you have a bolster, a wonderful place to be able to land into, to be able to soften through the neck and shoulders if indeed during this pose you carry a lot of tension there. So just resting like so with the elbows bent, you'll feel a sudden release through the whole back of the neck and across the shoulder saddle. Sometimes in our practice we just need to feel supported in any way. Similarly, using the bolster to lay down over the top to get a little deeper into the pose with the support there underneath the torso is a wonderful place to land. There are so many places where we can be in this pose. Find the ease, find the openness, but most of all to find the acceptance. So once again, turning inward, bring the attention towards the changing sensations in the body, the legs, the pelvis, and allow the pose to unravel. Alrighty, come with me, breathe in, come on up. And then we're just simply going to lean to our right side, keeping the left side of the pelvis nice and heavy. Once again, you can bring a block to the outside of your right knee to rest your forearm on. And as opposed to dropping forward and then coming over, see if you can just sit upright and literally just tipping over to the right side. If you keep the crown of the head higher than the chin, you'll take the strain out of the side of the neck. From here, you can take the arm over the top of the head just to expand from the outer left hip. You'll feel this all the way through the side and the waist, to the side ribs, right up even through to the armpit itself. Once again, I keep the crown of the head higher. I'll often place my left hand on my right ear to help support myself here. Good, and just allow yourself to soften. Once you arrive, the body suddenly becomes aware of that change. And there may be some muscular gripping that happens to get you to land here. And then once we've been here for a moment or two, check in and see if you're able to still let any kind of gripping that is occurring here to release. And then very slowly, ooh, lovely long lengthening on the left side. Come on back center. Just stay for a breath or two. And then as and when you're ready, I have my bolster here ready to go. I'm going to land into my bolster and just tip to my left side. So again, trying to avoid the moving of the shoulder forward. Trying to keep the body in the lovely natural line that it is. Crown of the head higher than the chin to stop the strain on the left side. Sorry, the right side of your neck. Take the arm up over the top of the head if this is where you would like to land. Get really grounded and heavy through the right sit bone. And then here we stay. All right, come back to just noticing the sensations in the body. And then adjust or modifying, even minutely, to find a place of more openness for you here for these last few moments. You don't need to be deep in this pose to be able to get the benefits that come with it. Sometimes it is the practice of yin is about being less so that you can experience so much more in yourself. Good. Come on up. Just bring your hands in behind your knees. Bring your feet to standing. A little outside of the hips, about 6 inches forward of the knees, and then just roll through. So just resting through the outer hips, the inner thighs, the knees and the ankles. And one more to each side. We are coming back into Dragonfly again, this time to add a twist. So very slowly, just allow yourself to land here back into the pelvis. Find a place that is comfortable for the legs to land. And then we are twisting to your right. For some people, this is enough. Yoga is not measured, Yin Yoga is not measured on a physical representation of the pose, more how it feels on the inside. So when you are feeling that you are enough, when you are feeling your body respond, and when you're feeling that you can still land there with ease in the breath and without stirring up the emotions of the mind, that's where you stay. For some of us, we're able to go a little deeper. And again, that may also mean that support through the back of the knees will give you the opportunity to fall down a little more. We just bring the awareness to our body and how a lot of us in the Western world have come to think of yoga as being about the physical body. And that is often the introduction to the journey of yoga for some people. The body is the vessel that holds the divine self. And to be able to nourish and to be able to spend time, the body needs to be comfortable. The vessel needs to give you that space to sit, to explore. And these are where the yoga poses come in, particularly yin. You may be feeling a little bit more activity here on your outer left hip. Perhaps that's sweeping around just to the inside of the hip point. And perhaps it's growing up towards your lower ribs. And just see if you can release the oblique muscles down here. And let the left hip remain heavy. Be as much as you need to be here. Change and modify the pose as time passes. There is so much that is happening here. There's the lengthening through the legs, the outer hip on the left side, the back of the right leg, the twisting through the torso, the compression as we breathe into the belly, into the puku, the openness through the back of the left shoulder blade. There is so much that occurs in these poses. Just adjusting and modifying here for these last few moments. And sometimes your practice of yin is the concept of releasing the increments of time that we measure our life in. My job is to keep time for you this morning. Yours is to be indulgent. Now we've been here for some time, so very slowly walk the hands in towards the pelvis. Exiting the poses are just as important as coming into them and being in them. Don't be in a hurry to unravel just yet. Good, now come on back center. And just find out whatever your body needs. And this time, I'm going to come back through window wipers before I set up to go onto the left side. I shall take my time moving through to get the deepest release I can in this instance, in the hamstring and on the right side on the outer left hip. Come on in. Join me once again. So land. There you go. Well done. And then come on around to the left side. Left hand on the outer left thigh and the right hand just to the inside. This may be enough. Slowly unwinding and allowing yourself to physically and slowly, muscle by muscle, yogis, tendon by tendon, ligament by ligament, breathing space into the side body. Allow yourself to release into this pose. Let the outer right hip get really heavy. And once again, with patience and time, see where the pose can take you to. The journey of dragonfly twisting to the left. So I've just popped a bolster in underneath my arms. I'm a little tighter on this side than I was on the other. And this is just to give me the opportunity to be able to soften a little bit more, to recognize what could be my limitations or what could be an opportunity for me to soften a little bit more with the support beneath me. And then as and when I feel my body respond, in whatever way that may be, we can then change, adjust or modify to be in the pose that our body would like us to be in for this day. Yesterday, you may have been a lot more open than you are today. And that's where the concept of acceptance comes in. And needing to be in the moment, to be present. In a moment, youngsters, it's time to bring the hands back towards the pelvis. Very, very slowly, just come back to sitting, still twisted to the left side. Let the body catch up. And then very slowly come on back center. Good. Bring the knees back in. Roll off to each side. How do your legs feel? How does the pelvis feel? How do the ribs feel? There's a lot of extension that occurs there in the twist particularly. And sometimes the awareness of that only lands once we've come out of the pose. So indulge me just one more time. Come back into dragon, fly once again. This time, just give yourself the opportunity to release to gravity. And fall to where your body needs to be in this moment. And allow space for all of your sensations to land. Good. Welcome the sensations in the body. Notice when they change. Find the ease. Find the openness. Just to allow them to be as they are. We're only here for a few more moments. Breathe space and softening here into each muscle, into each ligament and tendon, into each insertion and origin, into each joint. Just for a few more moments, yogis. Good. In a moment, please do this very slowly and with deep awareness. Bring the hands back in, under the shoulders, back in towards the pelvic bowl. Just come sitting up. Awesome work. Dragonfly, and any variation of it, is possibly one of the most challenging poses in my own practice. That we've spent so much time in them this morning sometimes can rattle the emotions. There can also sometimes be a sense of frustration around the pose itself, around how you are in it. Come into Shavasana, yogis. Right leg in front. Cross-legged, or if you can, just bringing the left heel in closer towards the pelvis. Right leg resting in front. And just notice if there's any one part in your body that you're feeling a little bit of discomfort. And if there is, can you bring some breath in around that area? All right, and let's take a twist to the right side. Right hand behind, left hand to the outer right knee. Feel free to stay exactly where you are. Where you are is a wonderful place to be. If you'd like to open up the side body a little bit more, take the right hand to the sky and then just tip your left shoulder down to your left thigh. Keep the right thigh nice and grounded and still trying to attach your left hand to your outer right thigh, and then continuing the rotation as well as opening out through the side body. Once again, feel free to bring your right hand to clasp hold of your left ear. Keep the crown of the head a little higher than the chin, just to find as much space and softening here as you can. Good. Embrace the sensations that are landing into the side body here. And just continue to breathe, and you can modify the experience here by how deep you breathe in this rotation and side body opening. Okie dokie. Come on up nice and slowly. Bring the right hand down. Move slowly out of this one if you have come into this extension with me. Just lift up and take a little bit more of a rotation. Should release a little bit more here if you are on the right side. I've just felt a whole lot of tingling on that side. So I'm embracing the fact that I've just landed into a little bit of an energetic release or opening. Switch the feet around the other way. Left hand behind, right hand to the outer left knee. So here's where we make the decision, wrapped around the acceptance of where we need to be. Stay, or left hand to the sky, and dropping down onto the right side. Just adjusted the crown of my head to ease up on the left side of my neck. And again, I'm noticing that I'm quite tight on this side this morning, so I will only go as far as is comfortable for my body. I'm feeling my left shoulder blade dropping in the shoulder capsule, dropping in a little bit towards the floor. So I'm going to adjust that and then just change the experience by using breath. Alrighty. Coming out of this very, very slowly. Just stay in the twist for a moment or two, a breath or two. Good, and then release. Come on back center. Come around to the front of your mat, yogis, if you're not there already, and just draw your knees in. Draw the knees into the chest. Good. Again, just put the nose down in between. Get a little bit of lengthening through the back of the neck and across the shoulder saddle. And we are now going to lay down onto our backs. You'll draw the right knee into the chest and lengthen the left leg away. And let the leg get really heavy and try and get the thigh bone down to the earth, down to your mat. Got to really get through the heels, and the toes are flexing back towards respective knees. Now try to press out a little bit more through the left heel. Gather the right knee in just a little bit closer here. Good, breathe in. And then as you exhale, switch around to the other side. Continue to try and find the engagement through the right thigh bone hugging down into the earth, pressing out through the heels, perhaps even fanning the toes and feeling the engagement through the front of the legs here. Good, breathe in, draw the left knee in a little closer. And then as we exhale, switch them around to the other side. Good, let's just continue here to breath and switching on the exhale. Breathe in, draw the knee in, heels nice and firmly pressing away, and then switch these around. Let's just do another 3 on each side. You're going to do this in your own time, and we will meet each other with both knees hugging into the chest. So take your time here and really release into the pose. So draw the left knee in and feel that release through the back body, through the right heel, and then let the breath, should be nice and easy here, soft, get longer to enjoy being in these wonderful, gentle, subtle movements that can be quite deep if we allow them to be. I'm just going to do one more on the right and left side. And then I will meet you with both of my knees gathered into my chest. Beautiful. Cool. Just stay there, hugging the knees in with a little bit more pressure, with the arms drawing them in a little closer, and then softening off as you exhale. Good. And as you breathe in, draw them in a little closer, and then just soften them off. Beautiful. One more time. Draw them in closer, and then soften off and place the feet down onto the earth. So, bridge pose. It will be supported at some stage. Some support handy. As you breathe in, lift the pelvis, rolling up into the soles of the feet and the shoulders. Press down through the tops of your arms, palms of your hands. And as you exhale, just roll down. It doesn't have to be too active just at this moment. And breathing in, rolling the pelvis up. Good. Pressing down firmly. And then exhale, rolling the pelvis back down again. Let's do this one more time. Rolling the pelvis up, breathing in. Now go and get some support to put underneath your pelvic bowl so that you are supported in Setu Bandha Shavasana, bridge pose. And start to feel that wonderful broadening through the front of the chest, softening through the lower jaw. Can you stay for another 5 long, deep breaths? Yogis, as you are still supported here on the top of the block, you may wish to do one of 2 things. Stay where you are. You may also need to adjust the position and the height of the block. Stay where you are, and where you are is a beautiful place to land. Or you may wish to draw your right knee into your chest, which is going to bring a little activity into your left hip. Or you may wish to lengthen your right leg, let it rest onto the heel, which is going to give you significantly more activity and opening through the front of your right hip. So just choose where you'd like to be, adjusting or modifying the location and height of the block under the pelvic bowl or the cushion or the bolster as you need it to be. Just for a few breaths here. So just as we were laid on the mat before, see now if you can press out through the heel. Right side, draw the toes towards the front to the knee, and feel how that will change subtly the experience here. Good. Now from here, draw the foot to standing and then gather it back into the chest. Place that leg down. If you're still in bridge pose, just stay. We've got the second side to do. Left side, so the left knee comes into the chest. You may not feel quite so much activity on the right as that has already been extended. And then taking the left leg long. So please play around with the support underneath the pelvic bowl. I remember the first time I stuck a block under my pelvic bowl for supported bridge. and then came into this variation, and I did find it uncomfortable. And that could have been the uncomfortableness of it, could have been the newness of feeling that support there. It could have been that at that particular time it was also a little too high. You're still going to feel the same experience in the body as your body needs it to, with less support or less height. So always feel free to place a blanket or even a cushion. Place the block on a lower height, place a cushion over the top, be supported. Alrighty, and so just bring the left foot back in under the knee, and then bring it into the chest. Cool. So wherever you are, you may now wish to take both feet to the sky. And find that lovely place of balance with the support underneath the pelvis, just to stay here. Just continuing to soften from the soles of the feet all the way through to the crown of your head. Draw the knees into the chest as comfortable, as deep as comfortable for you, and then the feet down onto the earth. Good, yogis, lift the pelvis up. Just stay here for a couple breaths. Rolling down on an exhalation. One hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. Bring the feet together so the instep touching, and then just gently let the knees go to each side of the room for Supta Baddha Konasana. Again, this is the laid down version of how we began our class this morning. And should you need support underneath your outer knees, not because you need it, but because you want to feel supported here so that you can truly soften, land into the sensations of me, then I'm encouraging you to do that. Breathe into that place just now where you feel the most tension. And for you, you may not be feeling any tension at all here, in which case you will breathe through the entire self. Taking your time just to explore possibilities in these poses. And taking the time to feel the sensations, to welcome these friends back into your physical self, knowing that through the practice of your yin this morning, investing in this time, that you are taking care of the physical side of your amazing self so that you can move freely. You can sit comfortably and you can be in your world as you need to be, with huge mobility, the freedom to explore what life has to offer you. You may feel incredibly comfortable here, and you may wish to maintain exactly this position for your Shavasana. If, however, for some of us, we need to move, Then do that. Bring the feet to standing, bring the knees together, and then lengthen those to the earth. And just be really mindful here that you do not need anything to sit in underneath the back of your knees. That just brings so much softening into the body. And if it's somewhere you've not experienced before, perhaps today is that day where you create the change in your practice to explore something new. The wonderful thing about yoga on any level, and there are many levels of them, the ability to find something new about yourself. Keeping the vessel, your physical self, as comfortable as we can, so that then we can explore other forms of yoga, pranayama, being comfortable in our physical body to be able to sit comfortably, to be in these breathing practices. Being able to sit comfortably, to be able to meditate for periods of time. Being able to find acceptance, space, and welcome silence into our divine selves. Being able to surrender to the greatest pose of all, that of your Shavasana. And now slowly bringing your awareness back to your breath. Noticing the sensations in your body as you lift up out of your Shavasana slumber. Feeling the breath grow, the senses are returning. Taste, smell, the heat in the body. And very slowly, just your breath, start to turn your head from the right to the left side, very slowly. And initiate that breath and the existence to the left or the right. And that space, the pause. It's referred to in yoga as kumbhaka. Continuing to move from the right to the left side. And now very gently invite the fingertips to start to move. Don't place the awareness on either movement. Just see if you can have both of these going. So this activates the right and left-hand side of the brain. And now see if you can wiggle your toes at the same time without focusing on any one place and moving equally and freely through all three locations of Divine Self. Good. Let's continue a little longer. And now it's time, yogis, to come back center and lengthen your hands up over the top of your head. Get long through the fingers and toes. Gather the knees into your chest and roll over to whatever side is calling you just now. Come and join me at the front of the mat. Bring your hands to your heart center in reverence and honoring the time that we've invested in being here together on our mat in our yin practice, exploring sensations and welcoming openness and ease into our divine selves. That place that gives us the opportunity to be able to explore much deeper levels of self through our yoga practice. It's been a pleasure to have you with me this morning. Bring your thumbs to your third eye center. Namaste. Alrighty, as always, yogis, a wonderful opportunity to spend with you. Do enjoy your Sunday and all the joys that it brings to you for this day. Go be amazing in the world. I'll see you another day. Ka kite.